Hey everybody, welcome back to another review. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. This is a little bit of a different setting. We usually do reviews at nighttime, but I'm actually doing a double feature tonight, Tuesday being a cheap day here at the Regal Cinemas. But let's talk about Presley, which was written and directed by Sofia Coppola, who's done some notable films in the past. Obviously, her attachments to Francis Ford Coppola is, very noteworthy. Started directing a couple films here and there, most notably The Virgin Suicides, as well as Lost in Translation, which is the only film of hers that I've actually seen and really, really love. And as the title suggests, it is about Priscilla Presley, wife to Elvis Presley, and details her encounters with Elvis, how they meet, how they ultimately get together, and a lot of the downfalls, and a lot of the toxicities that are within that relationship, most notably with Elvis, who, is depicted as a very egocentric and very narcissistic, I guess you could say, type of figure, and Presley's how she was taken advantage of ultimately by youth, as the film suggests, because the film has a interesting attachment to it, because Lisa Mary Presley, who was the daughter of Priscilla Presley, who she just recently passed away, who I believe was also the wife to Michael Jackson. She had some issues with the film that she took up with Sofia Coppola. A lot of issues, actually, with the film. She found it to be very, very disrespectful, I believe. She did not jive with the film's mentality of how they were depicting her father and mother, and Sofia Coppola basically just told her off, just said, just watch the fucking movie, and it's my, she basically just said whatever, just kind of just threw her suggestions and her comments out the window. And those comments, mind you, came, I believe, before production started on this movie. So it's not like she saw the film and then she was just like, oh, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, she read the script or something like that, and I guess that's where a lot of these issues a lot of those issues came from, and those statements from Lisa. And I say all that because I can concur, my knowledge of Elvis Presley, all that, stuff is very minor. I mean, I've seen the other Elvis film that came out with Austin Butler, which was just fucking noisy, nothing too notable there. And this one is the opposite of that. I mean, very, very mute, very quiet, and it plays to the ideas again of toxicity within that, having such a lonely existence. I get what they're trying to portray there. Like, if you don't know what's going on, I mean, it's just so blatant and so apparent, with just how the ideas are being pushed onto you. That ultimately, just the way that those ideas are represented, and the redundance and just the overall nature of the film takes, I can absolutely see where Lisa's coming from when it comes to just her issues with the film. Again, I don't have much knowledge on Elvis. The only thing I know about Elvis is that, yeah, he certainly was egocentric. I mean, he definitely was, all about his business. And I don't know if all the other stuff in the film, though, is necessarily true. I don't know, because I just don't know the history. Like, there's very suggestive stuff in the film, like that Elvis got with Priscilla when she was like 15, and all these other things. Like, there's a lot of stuff, there. Obviously a lot about abuse and other things too, which I don't know if that's truthful or not. I don't know. But the nature of the film, though, is the problem, because even if those elements are true, like, let's just say that all that is true, that they did get together at 15, they did get together and all this other, like, this abuse, this level of abuse, this toxicity let's say all that was present, I still don't think the nature of the film is appropriate, which to me is very exploitative. You know, like the way that they shoot the actress who plays Priscilla, who I just whatever. I mean, the performances are fine. I actually thought the Elvis guy was better than Austin Butler, to be honest, because Austin Butler was just doing an impression. You know, like he was just trying to do the voice and all this sort of stuff. You know, with this guy, like I mean, he is putting on the voice a little bit, but it's more subtle and it feels a little bit more like it feels a little bit more alive, I guess, as a performance. With Austin Butler, it's just like you're just you're just trying to do an imitation, you know. But back to what I was saying though about the nature of the film, I don't really jive with it a lot. A lot of the times I was knocked out of it because of that behavior that it chooses to take. And what you get is something that is exploitative, but also acting as such. You know, it's like the story of it is exploitative. Like the overall structure, the way that it plays, and the craftsmanship, the direction that it's taking. It all boils down to that exploitative like nature. And even if the elements are true, even if it is 100% accurate, which it's not, I mean, no, based on a true story or using true story elements, like anything like that, obviously there are liberties that are going to be taken. You know, it's a matter of how many liberties, you know, this film takes, you know, which is kind of up in the air, you know, based on Lisa's comments and all the other stuff, you know. I personally just don't think that it worked that well because of that nature that it chooses to take and to just really be engulfed in. Um, and it feels ignorant. Like that's the thing about it, is that I have to do some research because I just don't know if it's true, like all the stuff that it's telling me. Because it just feels ignorant. It feels naive. It feels, um, you know, like it just feels like that there's a point, you know, because it really chooses to victimize its subject a lot. Like it chooses to really victimize Priscilla in this, and I don't know if that's appropriate or not. I don't know if that is the story. I don't know if that is what actually happened. Um, and I have a hard time believing that it is based on just the way that the film represents itself. Um, so you have performances that are okay, but what you have is a craftsmanship that chooses to depict its subjects very in a very questionable light. And it's not because of my knowledge of whatever. Obviously, I don't know what happened, you know, between Elvis and Priscilla. Um, it's the craftsmanship. It's the purpose of it. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like it's appropriate. It feels inappropriate. It feels ignorant. It feels exploitative. It feels like we're trying to victimize somebody. You know, it doesn't feel like we're representing it in a way that feels authentic or accurate. So I have a hard time buying into its depictions, and I just don't think that the nature of the overall behavior it takes works to the film's benefit. If anything, it works against it many, like a lot of the times. And it runs thin too. The ideas of its toxicities and its, you know, taking advantage of somebody, like, you know, it hits on it so many times. It's like, again, if you don't know what the fuck the movie's about by the time the movie's done, it's like, I don't, you know, then you really need a movie to spell it out for you, you know. Um, yeah, I wasn't really big on it. I think that I jive a lot with what Lisa was saying, you know, when the film was coming out, her comments. It feels as if Sophia is taking advantage of that story and bending that story, you know, and not really wishing to tell it truthfully. It looks like she's just wanting to intentionally put her own agenda, her own spin on that story, rather than just letting the story speak for itself. And you'd be surprised by how many times that has actually happened. but it's just so apparent here, and I don't think that it just doesn't work, and it's not appropriate at all, you know. So yeah, I don't know if I can recommend it. I mean, yeah, like I just the performances are just not really that great, and it's very isolated, and I get the reason for it, but it doesn't work to its benefit either. So um like the problem with the film is Sofia Coppola. Like that's the reason, that's the why the movie is the way it is, you know. If it was done with better intentions and ultimately presented in a different way, I think that I would have, jived with it more. And I'm not saying, again, like, I don't know what actually happened. I mean, if it happened the way it happened, then, I'm not trying to defend, like, if Elvis was a fucking asshole. I mean, from what I know, yeah, Elvis was like a shithead, and he did sleep around with a bunch of people. Um, but it's a matter of how you represent those facts, you know. Represent those facts as facts. Don't bend those facts into something that doesn't come across as truthful. Like I said, the nature of the movie is exploitation. That's ultimately, and they even vocalize that at one point in the movie about exploitation and about, representing yourself and all that sort of jazz. Like, I don't know. I didn't really jive with it too much. So, mainly due to how it's behaving. So, and definitely the Presley family is not really happy with it either. So, but the Presley family, I heard, is kind of 50-50, in terms of like who's saying what and it's truthful. So it sounds like it's a mixed bag, but really, ultimately, I wasn't really big on it. But you guys, let me know your thoughts on Presley. If you guys saw it, did you guys like it? If you guys know anything more about the Presley family, like, is Lisa sounding, I honestly think that Lisa sounds, like, in terms of just the film, like, her comments match how I was feeling when watching the movie, but you guys let me know, like, is it accurate? Like, is what they're bringing on screen, like, is that real, or is that just all kind of exaggerated or embellished? It seems like it to me, but you guys let me know. And yeah, so that's gonna be it for me, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm gonna turn on the AC now because goddamn is it getting hot in here. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next review. That being the next movie that I see tomorrow or tonight. So stay tuned, and I'll catch you guys then.